Hey guys, I hope everyone is doing well. Today we're going to take a look at a great little carbine from Reximex, the Lyra-K. This full-powered 177 caliber gun was provided to me for review by my friends over at Canada Shooting Supply. Be sure to go check them out for all your airgun needs. I absolutely love compact guns, so let's get right into it. So, the most obvious thing first. For a gun that has what is essentially a full-sized wood stock, it's super compact. It has an overall length of just 34.6 inches, and that's mostly due to its shorter 14.9-inch barrel. To go along with the shorter barrel is a smaller air tank than most of us are used to these days. The Lyra-K has a 250cc air tank that fills up to 250 bar. That short barrel and smaller air tank lighten up the front of the gun quite a bit, and this gun is easily one of the most comfortably balanced rifles I've ever shouldered. And with it weighing in at just 6.1 pounds unscoped, this is a great option for long stalks through the woods. As I've been shooting this gun, I've been comparing it to other short carbines I own that have synthetic stocks, and I've concluded that the wood stock on this gun is contributing to the balance and feel it has when shouldered. It really is a joy to shoot, and it feels much nicer to shoulder than the synthetic stocked guns, at least to me. And speaking of that wood stock, as usual, the Turkish walnut is gorgeous. I think the stock has a nice shape to it, but I can admit that it might not be everyone's cup of tea, as it's a little untraditional. However, personal preferences aside, the stock is nicely finished and comfortable to hold and shoulder, with just enough texturing where you need it. Sling studs come pre-installed front and rear, and up front the gun also has a mounting point for an included bit of Picatinny for mounting bipods or other accessories. If you've shot many of the other Reximex guns, the action here will be pretty familiar to you. The two included 14-round magazines and the single-shot tray are similar to their other guns and load in the same way. The power adjuster is located just in front of the mag recess, and though it is easy to use and effective, it may be harder to use wearing gloves or by those with dexterity issues. This gun doesn't have the same dual rail system for mounting optics as seen on many other Reximex guns, and instead has only a Picatinny rail, which is fine. Though I am personally partial to dovetail, most of the industry is definitely moving towards Picatinny over dovetail. The side lever on this gun is as smooth and issue-free as any I've ever felt, and the biathlon-style side lever gives you an easy and effective way to manipulate the action. It really impresses me how far these lower-priced guns have come in even the past 5 years. With the fit and finish these have and the quality of the internal mechanisms, these Reximex guns really are fantastic value. The gun can be decocked like most others by holding the side lever back firmly and pulling the trigger back, and then carefully returning the side lever into its resting position. Speaking of the trigger, it's pretty solid and is on par with all of the other Reximex guns in this price range. Maybe even a little better than some. The safety is in a super convenient location just ahead of the trigger, inside of the trigger guard, and is easy to toggle back and forth with your trigger finger. I really enjoyed this. It's a shame that it's underutilized. Just ahead of the trigger guard, on the underside of the gun, is a small notch cut into the stock that houses the pressure gauge and fill port. The fill port happens to be a simple male Foster fitting, which is a nice touch. I'm sure that any of us who shoot a lot of PCPs will be thankful to have one less fill probe lying around. That being said, it can be a little tight getting the hose off of the gun due to limited space, but with a little practice, it gets easier. Okay, let's do some shooting. It's been getting cold here lately, not compared to the rest of Canada, but still colder than I would like. It was 3 degrees Celsius when I got to the range this morning, which is about 3 degrees colder than it takes for my arthritis to start acting up. So even though I try my best when I'm doing pellet testing, just keep the hand paint in mind. I also want to mention that this gun does come bundled with a perfectly usable 3:9x32 scope, but I prefer a little more magnification, and so I've topped it with a 6:24x50 UTG optic. All of today's groups will be 5 rounds, shot off of a bipod at 25 meters. I tried to shoot everything from the single shot tray, but I was having trouble manipulating the small 177 cal pellets, so I went back and forth with the magazine and single shot tray. Oh, and every shot will be at full power on the power adjuster, which is about 1,000 feet per second with an 8.44 grain pellet. Over the course of this range visit, I shot the gun down from just below 250 bar to 150 bar, which was 60 rounds, and I have no doubt that you'll get close to the claimed 100 optimal shots from a full fill. And unfortunately, we don't have any footage downrange today. I'm shooting on a live range with other members, and I don't want to be in anyone's way. Our first group is with 7.87 grain JSB exact, and it wasn't horrible. Whenever I shoot a group that is separated into two smaller groups of 2 and 3 pellets, I always think that the pellet deserves more attention at some point, especially if there isn't anything drastically better. Our second group is with 8.44 grain Barracuda 8 pellets from H&N, and it's actually quite similar to our last group, another pellet that should get further attention. For our third group, I'm shooting 8.64 grain field target trophy pellets, and unfortunately I pulled this shot that's to the far left, otherwise this would have been a pretty solid group. When I have more time, I'm definitely going to shoot a few more groups with these. For our fourth group, we have my favorite 177 cal pellet, the 9.57 grain Barracuda FT, and they're the worst group so far. I mean, it isn't horrible, but it's absolutely looser than the 3 previous groups, if only by a little bit. Our final pellet up is the 10.65 grain Barracuda match from H&N, and it's awesome. Well, 3 of the shots are awesome, and we have 2 stragglers. I don't think that those shots to the right were flyers though. My hands hurt pretty bad by this point, and my trigger control was rough at best. I decided to send 2 more groups of Barracuda match down range to see if I could gauge any kind of consistency from them. I don't think that these groups were 5 shots, as I was enjoying myself too much and sort of lost track of what I was doing. I think there's 6 or 7 shots each, I think. Both of the following groups were a little looser than the first Barracuda match group, but it was cold, and I think these groups are still solid. These pellets show a lot of potential. I have no question that out of a rest, they would group tighter. Unfortunately, my rest didn't work from the benches at this particular range. I'm going to do an expanded series of pellet testing videos with this gun in the near future. I feel like pellets like the Barracuda 8 and Field Target Trophy pellets might benefit from a slightly lower velocity, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. Okay, so my conclusions about the Reximex Lyra-K. Well, like all the other Reximex guns I've shot, I like it. I'm a sucker for carbines and compact guns, so this is right up my alley. It's lightweight without being overly light, which I think it would be with a synthetic stock. This would be a lovely gun in thicker brush or on longer hikes. The Lyra-K is a little more pellet fussy than, say, the 25 cal Reximex Daystar, but that's okay. Once you find a pellet it likes, it's more than accurate enough for any kind of target shooting, pest control, or small game hunting you'd want to do. The Lyra-K is a nice addition to the Canadian airgun market, one that I think will suit a lot of shooters' needs and make a lot of people happy, and I can't wait to spend more time with it. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to drop them down below, and feel free to like this video or subscribe to the channel if that's the sort of thing you're into. And be sure to check out Canada's Shooting Supply for all your airgun needs. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.